Some emotional moments inside a Minnesota courtroom, though, as the jury delivered the verdict in the manslaughter trial of former police officer Kim Potter we've been telling you about. Joining us now to discuss is veteran Chicago police officer and the spokesman for the National Police Association, Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith. Betsy, we appreciate you joining us on this. Merry Christmas to you. And I'm sorry that we're getting this news that a fellow officer of yours is not going to be able to spend it with her family. I got to ask you, though, first and foremost, what is the impact on the police force, not only locally, but nationwide, when they see this woman? The entire trial was about her accidentally grabbing the taser instead of the firearm. However, nothing has been paid in the media to any attention to the fact that this guy was resisting arrest and she might have been legally within her right to use deadly force.
Well, that's one of the frustrations of what happened in the courtroom. The jury heard all kinds of things about Officer Kim Potter, but they learned almost nothing about Deontay Wright. You know, they got to see a photo of him with his child. He's a violent felon. He had, he put a fellow black man in a vegetative state. He was known to carry a firearm. The warrant was for a weapons violation. And it was Deontay Wright that created the chaos of that traffic stop that then concluded in Officer Potter making a terrible mistake. But it was a mistake. And it's the position of the National Police Association that the jury did not, they made the wrong decision. The prosecution did not prove the criminal elements. This was a terrible mistake, but should have been handled civilly and procedurally, not criminally. Kim Potter is not a criminal. And this is going to have devastating effects, not just for Kim Potter, but for all of American law enforcement, which means, Carl, it's going to affect the country at a time when we already have exploding violent crime.
It's not good. Now, for folks at home sitting there, this is coming from, obviously, the two of us have been trained in life or death scenarios like this. I spent 9 years in and out of Iraq. So I want people at home to just close your eyes real quick and think about this. And Sergeant, you can walk us through this as well. Close your eyes real quick. You just got a report that a guy has a warrant out for his arrest, criminal gun charges pending, and you walk up to his car, and the first thing he does is jump into his car and go for, we don't know what he went for, but here's pictures of him holding up a firearm himself, appearing in, not in a lawful manner to my knowledge. And now you are forced to make a decision in a quarter of a second. How do you react, Sergeant?
Well, this is the thing. Don't forget that Kim Potter was also acting as a field training officer, so she had to keep an eye on her rookie. It was her rookie that actually made a mistake and allowed Deontay Wright to get free from him, creating this chaotic situation. And, we heard a lot in the courtroom about, well, we know now Deontay Wright didn't have a gun. We know this, we know that. That's called hindsight, hindsight bias. And she should not have been judged on those biases. She should have been judged on what was happening in the immediate situation. And so it's incredibly frustrating. And I think that I'm not sure that her defense team did enough in emphasizing the testimony of Dr. Lawrence Miller and the other expert that they brought in from Missouri. This is what we call a slips and capture error. It wasn't a mistake. You had somebody in the earlier hours say that this was a rookie mistake. This was not a rookie mistake. This was a brain glitch. And these things happen. And
also a training glitch, too.
Yes, it's a brain glitch. About 250,000 people die every year, Carl, of medical mistakes. Are we going to start putting surgeons and nurses in prison? Absolutely not. Police officers are people, and they make mistakes. This was a terrible mistake that Officer Potter is going to have to live with for the rest of her life, but she shouldn't have to do it in prison. This was not a crime. The jury made the wrong decision.
I completely agree. And getting up every morning, strapping on body armor to go to your job, and willing to come when somebody calls when they're at their worst is a noble concept. And for you to be criminalized for doing something that you weren't even trained for. The police department failed to train her in this, and I put a lot of onus on them. I want to pivot to Chicago, though. Okay, police say 4 people were shot inside a mall in Oak Ridge, Illinois last night. Now, officials are saying that the suspected shooter is in custody, but Illinois State Senator Kimberly Lightford and her husband were carjacked. I mean, they were carjacked in a suburb broad view last week. Okay, police say that these three masked men, they fired a bunch of gunshots in the air. Nobody was hurt, thankfully. But this is a senator and her husband. They weren't harmed, but what is the reality of these policies and how is it coming to affect? You think this is going to change their view on things?
I can only hope. Look, I was a suburban Chicago cop for 29 years. And what we're seeing is the failed policies of the city of Chicago and Mayor Lori Lightfoot. And now it's starting to encroach its way south and west and north into the suburbs. Senator Lightfoot's husband told her to run away when this carjacking occurred in the suburbs. He had a legal concealed carry firearm, and he engaged in a shootout with those thugs that then stole their car. So she's a Democrat senator. I've read some of her opinions about gun control, and yet her own husband was carrying a gun and was able to save her and himself. Yeah. So, and then what happened in the Oakbrook Mall last night was we had SWAT teams from all over the area had to come and clear out that mall. That's one of the biggest malls in the wealthiest areas of the Chicago suburbs. I used to shop there all the time myself. We're seeing Chicago encroach onto the suburbs, and I hope that the voters and the legislators are paying attention to what's happening.
Yeah. So, Sergeant, we have a soundbite from Mayor Lori Lightfoot, and when they played this, I could not believe, I thought this was from like weeks ago. I could not believe that they were playing, that she said this like in the last 24 hours. Listen to this.
If you're going in that coffee shop to pick up and go, you don't need to show proof. But if you're going to linger, you're going to eat that muffin, you're going to sit down with your laptop, you got to show proof of vaccination.
People are dying, malls are being overrun by SWAT teams to secure them before Christmas, and she's saying if you want to eat a muffin, you got to get the vaccination.
Carl, you are more likely as a child in the city of Chicago to die from gunfire than you are from the coronavirus. Yeah. What Lori Lightfoot is doing is she is trying to take the spotlight away from her failed policies, her hatred of law enforcement, and her absolute failure to protect her city. And she's going to vax and mask and make people, she's going to try and make people more afraid of the coronavirus than they are of getting shot in her streets. When again, we have 30, 40, 50 shootings every weekend in the city of Chicago. I hope people are getting tired of her and her rhetoric because it's killing people, and it's mostly killing Black people, the people she keeps saying she wants to protect.
It's more deadly than it was in Iraq when I was there. Sergeant Betsy Brantner Smith, we appreciate you joining us, ma'am. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Carl.
All right.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, where real news for real people.